everyone, this is Raylene Ragas from BSN Science 3. And now, we are going to talk about the comets, asteroids, and meteors. So now, let me first define what is comet. It orbits the sun like cosmic snowballs of frozen gases, rock, and dust. They are the size of sizable town when frozen. When a comet approaches the sun, it warms up and spews dust and gases into a massive blazing head the size of most planets. The dust and gases generate a tail planets. The dust and gases generate a tail that reaches millions of kilometers away from the sun. Comets was first found by a group of sun gazers, Groot's group in Rotterdam, Netherlands. However, Kirch became the first person to discover the comet using a telescope. Going by the cometary trajectory, the object was first identified as two separate comets in the late 1680 and early 1681. Comets has two parts. First, comets ice core, or what we call nucleus. Every moment has a nucleus, a stable, porous, constrained mass of ice, gas, and dust that is often between 1 and 10 kilometers or 0.6 to 6 miles in size. The ice is made of varying amounts of water, carbon dioxide, ammonia, and methane. Dust may contain hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, silica, and some metals. The nucleus may have traces of hydrocarbons as comets approach our sun within about 450 million kilometers or 2.250 million miles. They heat up and the ice begins to sublimate or change from a solid directly to a gas. The gas are water vapor, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and traces of other substances, and dust forms an atmosphere around the nucleus called a coma. Material from the coma gets swept into the tail. As comets move close to the sun, they develop tail of dust and ionized gas. Comets have two main tails, which are dust tail and plasma tail. Dust tail appears whitish yellow because it is made up of tiny particles about the size of particles of smoke that reflect sunlight. Dust tails are typically between 1 and 10 million kilometers long. The plasma tail is often blue. It contains carbon monoxide, ion, solar, ultraviolet light, breaks down the gas molecules, causing them to grow. Plasma tails can stretch tens of millions of kilometers into space. Rarely, they are as long as 150 million kilometers, almost 100 million miles. A third tail of sodium has been observed on comet Hale-Bopp. Next one is asteroid. Asteroids are small rocky objects that orbit the sun. They are also known as minor planets, although asteroids orbit the sun in the same way as planets. They are much smaller. Asteroids are remnants of our solar system's formation. When a large cloud of gas and dust collapsed around 4.6 billion years ago, our solar system was born. When this happened, the majority of the material plummeted to the cloud center, becoming the sun. Some of the cloud's condensing dust formed planets. The asteroid belt objects were never able to be merged into planets were formed. We have three major groups of asteroids. First, we have main asteroid belt. The majority of known asteroids orbit within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Generally, with not very elongated orbit, the belt is estimated to contain between 1.1 and 1.9 billion asteroids. To contain larger than 1 kilometer in diameter, and millions of smaller ones. Early in the history of the solar system, the gravity of newly formed Jupiter brought an end to the small bodies to collide with one another, fragmenting them into the asteroid we observe today. Next, we have Trojans. Their asteroids share an orbit with a larger planet but do not collide with it because they gather around two special places in orbit called L4 and L5, Lagrangian points. Their gravitational form from the Sun and the planet are balanced by a Trojan's tendency otherwise fly out of orbit. Jupiter Trojans form the most significant population of Trojan asteroids. It is thought that they are so numerous as the asteroids in the asteroid belt. There are Mars and Neptune Trojans and NASA the discovery of an Earth Trojan in 2011. Lastly, we have near-Earth asteroid. These objects have orbits that pass close by that of the Earth. Asteroids that actually cross Earth's orbital path are known as Earth crossers. Now, let's proceed with the meteor. This is also known as a meteoroid, a space rock that penetrates Earth's atmosphere. So, the resistance or drag of the air on the space rock causes it to become incredibly heated as it falls. Rock causes it to become incredibly heated as it falls toward the Earth. The dazzling streak is not the rock, but rather the blazing hot air. As the hot rock zips through the atmosphere, creating a shooting star. A meteor shower occurs when Earth hits a large number of meteoroids at the same time. Meteor has three phases. First, we have the meteoroid. Meteoroids are objects in space that range in size from the dust grains to small asteroids. Think of them as space rocks. Next, we have the meteor. It is when meteoroids enters Earth's atmosphere or that of another planet like Mars at high speed and burn up the fireballs or shooting stars. Lastly, we have the meteorite. It is when a meteoroid survives a trip through the atmosphere and hits the ground. And now, for the last part of our discussion, let me differentiate a comet, meteor, and asteroid. A meteor can be comet or an asteroid as long as they enter Earth's atmosphere and they are heated enough to glow. The term points to the flash of light phenomena and not the debris itself.
2, 3, go.
A comet is a small astronomical body covered in ice. When it gets near the sun, it shows a visible coma, which is a temporary atmosphere. Sometimes it displays a tail as well. A meteor is also or commonly called a shooting star, and it can be caused by any small pieces of space debris that dives into our atmosphere at great speeds. It glass as if gets superheated in the process, making a streak of light. If debris does not break up into pieces and hits Earth, it is called meteorite. Asteroids are larger than comets and they travel in orbit around the sun, just like planets do. Recent studies suggest that a comet's surface is made of dense, crystalline ice. An asteroid's surface can either have a metal stone or carbon composition. Before I end, let me have the opportunity to share a quotation from Henry David Thoreau. New ideas come into this world somewhat like falling meteors, with a flash and an explosion. Thank you, and once again, this is Raylene Ragas. Have a great day ahead.